Hey guys! All right, today we are going to do lesson 12.1 where we are going to start talking about polynomials. Now, as we go through these definitions, some of these should sound a little bit familiar to you because we've actually talked about terms before and we've talked about monomials before in previous lessons. We talked about monomials when we found greatest common factor and least common multiple. So some of this lesson is going to actually sound a little bit familiar to you. So let's review what a monomial is. Well, remember from English class that the prefix mono means one. So a monomial is one term. It's a number, a variable, or the product, that means the multiplication, of a number and one or more variables raised to a whole number or positive power, meaning it can only be raised to a power that is positive and is a whole number. If it is raised to a negative power, it is no longer a monomial. Then a term is the monomials that are added together in a polynomial. So it's like the little pieces. Now, when we say added, it could also be subtracted because remember, subtraction we can turn into addition. So I've given you an example of both of those, and really a monomial and a term, I could have written the same thing in those example boxes because a term is one of the monomials. Now, let's go to polynomial. Well, the prefix poly means many. So polynomials are the sum of monomials. Now, that could be just one term, or a monomial would also be a polynomial. It could be 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms, 100 terms. Those would all be polynomials. So I gave you a polynomial that has 3 terms. The 3 terms would be 4x squared, 2y, and -5. Because remember, when we talk about polynomials, it has to be a sum, it has to be addition. So if we ever see subtraction, we need to turn it into addition. All right, now we have special kinds of polynomials. We've already talked about a monomial, which is 1 term. And we also have a binomial, which is 2 terms. Hopefully you're familiar with the prefix bi, which means 2. We also can have a trinomial, which uses the prefix tri, which means 3. So a trinomial is a polynomial with 3 terms. And you've noticed I've given you examples of each of those as well. Now, we can have a polynomial that has more than 3 terms. If it has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or any amount of terms over 3, we just simply call it a polynomial. So a binomial is also a polynomial. It's just a special kind of polynomial. A trinomial is also a polynomial. It's just a special kind of polynomial that only has 3 terms. So at this point right now, if you didn't get a chance to write down these definitions or examples, pause the video to finish that and then press play when you're ready to go on again. All right, the first thing we're going to practice is identifying and classifying polynomials. So the directions say, tell whether the expression is a polynomial. If it is, list its terms and classify it. All right, so the first one, A, is 6ab. This expression is a polynomial because it is the product of a number and variables, and they're all raised to positive whole number powers. The only term here would be 6ab. So since it only has 1 term, it's called a monomial. All right, let's go on to B. B is 4t to the second power minus 8t minus 5. Well, this expression is also a polynomial. Now, at first, you might be thinking, well, a polynomial has to be a sum. It has to be addition. Well, remember, whenever we have subtraction, we can always change it to addition. This one has 3 terms. They are 4t squared, -8t, don't forget that negative sign. It would be wrong if you don't have it, and -5. Because it has 3 terms, we can call it a trinomial. And the last one, C, is -7, y to the -3rd power plus 1. This expression is not a polynomial, and that's because the variable y has an exponent that is not a whole number or not positive. If you ever have a negative exponent, it cannot be a polynomial because a polynomial has only positive exponents. All right, let's try a few more on the next page. Again, we're telling whether the expression is a polynomial, and if it is a polynomial, we are listing its terms and classifying it. So number 1 is 9 plus a squared minus 5a. Well, all of these exponents, the ones that are there, are whole numbers. They're positive, so this is a polynomial. So I'm first going to write yes, a polynomial. All right, then I need to list its terms. These would be 9a squared and negative 5a, because remember, wherever there's subtraction, I need to turn it into addition. This has 3 terms, so I can call it a trinomial. And that would be the answer to number 1. Why don't you pause the video right now, try 2, 3, and 4, and when you're ready to check your answers, press play again. All right, go ahead and check your answers with mine. Notice 2 and 4 are both polynomials, and since they both have 2 terms, they're binomials. Number 3 was not a polynomial, and the issue with number 3 was this exponent here that was negative. Whenever you have a negative exponent, that cannot be a polynomial, and since it's not a polynomial, we don't have to give its terms and we don't have to classify it. Also, just a quick reminder, if you were to have a polynomial that has more than 3 terms, you would simply label it a polynomial. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is standard form. A polynomial is written in standard form if it is simplified and the terms are arranged so that the degree of each term decreases or stays the same from left to right. Now, we have actually already talked about standard form, but we just haven't always used that word. Remember when we simplified expressions and I told you that you always had to put the variable part first before the constant? That was standard form. So in order for something to be in standard form, we first of all have to combine all like terms. We have to make sure that it is simplified. And then we have to arrange the terms so that the degree, that's referring to the exponent, it goes from greatest to least. I think after we do a couple examples, this will make even more sense. But let's quickly review what are like terms. Remember, they are terms that have identical variable parts. All right, so make sure you get that written down. And remember, in order for them to be identical, it means that they also have to have the same exponent. So x squared and 2x squared would be like terms, but x squared and 2x to the third power would not be like terms because they are not identical. All right, let's take a look at this first example. So it wants us to write this polynomial in standard form. Well, before I can start rearranging things, I have a little bit of work to do to get this simplified. I'm first going to go ahead and change everything to addition just so that I don't lose any negative signs. You aren't required to do this, but I do think that it might help you not lose negative signs. All right, now I need to distribute. So I have negative x squared plus negative 3x plus positive 3x squared, because I have a negative times a negative there, and then plus 8x to the third power. Now, the next line wants you to write negative x squared as negative 1x squared. Remember, whenever there's not a coefficient, we can always put the coefficient of 1, and that sometimes helps you when you get to combining like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I were doing this without the steps written along the side here, I would have just done that in this first step here to save myself a step. All right, now I need to combine like terms. So I'm looking for which terms have identical variable parts, and that would be this and this because they both have an x squared. So negative 1x squared plus 3x squared is 2x squared. Plus negative 3x plus 8x to the third power. And so I can go ahead and skip. I kind of combined these two steps into the same one. I grouped them and combined them all together. Now, to write it in standard form, I need to look at and pay attention to the exponents, okay? So this term has an exponent of 2. The last term has an exponent of 3. And that middle term where I don't see an exponent, that would be an exponent of 1. So when you talk about the degree of each term, you are looking at those exponents, and you need to go from greatest to least. You're not worried about the coefficients. You're only using the exponents to help you put this in order. So in this one, it would be 8x to the third power because 3 is the highest exponent I have. Then plus 2x squared because 2 is the next highest exponent. Then plus negative 3x to the first power, or just 3x. And that would be this polynomial written in standard form. So again, a lot of these skills are ones you've used before. You're basically simplifying expressions, which we've done a lot of already, and then you're just making sure that you put the exponents in order from greatest to least. So again, hopefully a lot of this feels like review to you. All right, let's practice a few more. So number 1, I look at that and I am going to change this to addition, but I don't have any like terms that I can combine. There is no way that I can simplify this even further. So all I need to do is take a look at those exponents and put them in order from greatest to least. So this would be 2x to the third power plus 5x squared plus negative 11. Constants always go at the end, and that would be standard form. Again, I'm not looking at the coefficient. I am just focusing on the exponent when I write this in standard form. Let's do number 2. All right, well, I do have some like terms I can combine here. If you want to put a 1 in front of that d squared, you can. So negative 1d squared and 4d squared are like terms because they have identical variable parts. When I combine those, I get 3d squared plus 4d to the fourth power. But then to write it in standard form, I have to put that term that has the 4 exponent first, and then plus 3d squared, and that would be standard form. So why don't you try pausing the video, try 3 and 4, and then press play again. All right, go ahead and check your answers with mine. Notice I am first distributing and combining like terms, and then making sure that my exponents go in order from least to greatest. All right, the last thing we're going to practice in this lesson is evaluating polynomials. So we are going to be given a polynomial and given what the variables are. And so we just need to plug those in. Again, this is a skill we've done before. It's just that the expressions are going to be maybe a little bit more complicated than ones we have done in the past. All right, so first thing I do is fill in what the variables are. So this would be 4 times negative 2 squared, since x is negative 2. Plus 2 times 4, since y is 4, minus 5. Now, I'll tell you right now that the biggest mistake people make is that they don't follow order of operations. You have to be very careful about the order of operations here because exponents comes before multiplication. And so in this example that I have here, the very first thing I need to do is negative 2 squared. Well, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So I'm going to make that a 4 and going to leave everything else alone. Now I can do multiplication. So 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. Then I have 16 plus 8, which is 24, minus 5 would give me the final answer of 19. But you would get the wrong answer if you had done 4 times negative 2 and then squared that. So make sure you do your exponents first. Let's do another one together. Number 2. I'm going to put here a negative 1, and then y that I'm plugging in is 4 squared minus 8 times negative 2 to the third power plus negative 2. All right, now be careful here. You are doing 4 squared and then multiplying that by negative 1. You have to do the exponent before the multiplication. All right, this is not negative 4 squared. This is 4 squared times negative 1. Well, 4 squared is positive 16. Then I'm going to put this as plus negative 8. All right, now I have 2 to the third power. Negative 2 to the third power. So this would be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. All right, well, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, but then 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Be careful with those negative signs. And then plus negative 2. All right, so negative 1 times 16 is negative 16. Negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64. And then we have plus negative 2. All right, so you can remember now do this addition in any order that you like. So if you want to add the negatives first, you can, or you can just work right across. Okay, so I'm going to combine here and say negative 16 and negative 2 is negative 18 plus 64. And then 64 plus negative 18 would be positive 46. So again, the trick here is just to be very careful to pay attention to your order of operations and your negative signs. All right, why don't you pause the video, try number 3, and then press play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, go ahead and check your answer with mine. Notice I did the exponents first, so I first did 4 to the third power and negative 2 to the second power. Then some multiplication, and then at last the addition. Of course, you're welcome to use your calculator on these, especially as the numbers start getting a little bit bigger. All right, that's all for today's lesson. I hope you have a great day.